Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sir, before you go, sir, have we prayed? Do we need to pray?
Yeah, you need to pray. Pray for us.
Oh, okay.
Pray for us.
All right. Can we all unmute so that we just pray together? Father, we ask and we pray as we share together. We ask that you would be with us. You open our hearts and our ears of understanding. We ask for our teacher. We ask for uncommon wisdom, uncommon insight, and that this session will be enriching to each and every one of us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. He's a thought leader, a social entrepreneur who is passionate about creating business solutions to social problems. His mission is to see Africa become a first world continent, a thriving economic and social ecosystem, which can be achieved by improving the quality of Africa's business, Africa's people, Africa's policy over the long term. He is the founder and the CEO of Enterprise Hill, one of Nigeria's foremost management consulting firm. He works passionately with entrepreneurs and social innovators. He is also the country director of Competence Africa, a Pan-African social enterprise whose objective is to improve the quality of Africa's human capital through skills training, curriculum development. Someone says they cannot hear me. Let me test my mic again. 1 2 1 2.
No, we can hear you. We can hear you. He has to click that place that he has to do speak from, I don't know, the place where the mic is. So
because this profile is heavy, I have to read it well. In fact, I need to drink water because
Joshua, please, can you just you can't hear. Okay, I'll type to him. Don't worry, you can continue.
Okay, so he is the CEO of Enterprise Hill, one of Nigeria's foremost management consulting firm that provides accounting tax. He's also the country director of Competence Africa, to see all African nations attain a minimum global human capital index score of 70.0 by 2040. That's in 20 years' time. He's a renowned speaker and trainer. He has worked with the British Council, Ideation Hub, Elevate Your Game, Poise Nigeria, Deem Development Center, and so many names. The list goes on and on and on and on. He's won several awards. He's a season 2 winner of The Next Titan. At this point, I'm going to just go off script and share a personal story, because Davies is a personal friend as well. He's not just a speaker, he's also a personal friend. And I met Davies when at a point in life when I was trying to we had both qualified for this show. And we met on the queue. We're standing under the sun, the queue, and we're wondering whoever gets in. We're just exchanging business ideas and stuff. And I was just wondering, oh man, this guy would be a good friend, and I like to be friends with this guy and everything. And then that's how we met, and our friendship has really gone from strength to strength till since then. And David goes on to win the Next Titan, Nigerian foremost entrepreneur-related TV show. He's also been named Forbes 30 under 30 in Africa. And his podcasts and shows and articles have collectively reached an audience of over 20,000 people across Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me no greater honor to welcome to you this afternoon, Davies Okeowo. Davies, you have the floor.
Add with Jesus' joy.
With Jesus' joy. With Jesus' joy, yes. You're welcome, Davies.
Thank you very much, Femi. Thank you very much, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Pastor Desire. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. And I trust that we're going to have a very interesting time. So we have just about an hour to, am I correct? Is that how much time we have?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're correct.
Okay, so we have just about an hour to unpack, 3 very, very interesting things that we cannot but have, that we cannot but be aware of. They're very essential things about life that we're going to be dealing with. And these are things that cut across every single area of life that you might think about or that you might imagine. So the things that we're going to talk about are going to cut across, your personal life, your spiritual life, your marital life, your professional life, your social life, educational life, every single area of your life. And that's the reason why, I'm really, really excited, because what this opportunity is for me is that it provides a platform, right, through which I can share both things that I have learned from my own personal experiences, from people that I have learned from directly, and also thousands of people across the world indirectly that I've learned from, either by engaging with them or working with them or for them, or reading books and different things, right? But these are truths that I have found to be true, both in my life and the life of many other people. And once again, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be sharing with every single person. Now, if it's okay, at some point I'm going to begin to share my screen so that we can have a visual aid that I'm going to toggle right between a presentation screen and also my face, so that we can really have serious conversation. I like eyeball to eyeball conversation, not just abstract stuff.
Okay, so let me quickly respond to you there. Yes, you can share your screen.
Awesome.
And this is going out to everybody who is listening. I think we're at number 22 right now. I believe some other people are still coming. This would be a good time to get your writing material. Davies is loaded. Trust me when I say he's super, super, super loaded. So everything he says, you want to write it down, write your questions down. We just have 1 hour, and this is going to be fast. This is going to be swift. This is going to be sweet. So write it down, take note of everything, and let's get as much as we can from Mr. Davies before he leaves. All right, Davies, let's do this.
Thank you, brother. I'm very, very grateful. And guys, like Femi rightly said, I would encourage you to please write it down as much as you can, because in the time frame that we have, this is 3:14. I presume that we're going to be done. I always am mindful of time, so don't worry, we are not going to shoot over time today. We're going to have about 40 minutes of core content, and hopefully we can do Q&A in 20 minutes, hopefully. Life essentials. Let me see if I can share my screen right about now. Okay, great. I think I can. So, yep. Can you all see my screen? Femi, please, could you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Absolutely. And you love my slides, Abby. It's fine.
As in...
All right, guys. So let's do this. All right. So we're supposed to talk about life essentials. And there are 3 core verticals that I'm going to be touching on as we talk about life essentials, right? There are 3 core verticals. The first is decision making. The second is networking. And the third is money and finance. Now, just by talking about those things, I'm sure that a lot of you can already tell the importance of this thing, right? And I mean, of these things, right? They're very, very important. They are critical things that we cannot do without as humans, technically. So hence the reason why we figured, okay, we must have a conversation about these things, because if you think about it, really, there isn't really any point in the societal chain. So there's this chain that society defines for every single person. It only takes people that have come to a place of awareness, self-awareness, and have come to a place of the recognition of their own purpose on this earth. It only takes those kind of people to break away from that societal chain, right? Let me tell you what the societal chain is. You're born, no, it starts from conception. You're conceived, then you're born, then you go to school, nursery school, then primary school, then high school, then college or university, then you graduate, then you do a master's degree, then after that, then you begin to work, then after you begin to work, then you get married, after you get married, then you make babies, after you make babies, then you wait to die. That essentially is the chain that society has defined for every single person in this system of normalized averages that we call society. But it would take you, a person that have come to a place of self-realization, that have come to a place of an understanding of who you are and what you are here to do, to break away from that. So once you come to that point of realization, then you can choose to break away from that chain at any point, and you will have a more fulfilling and more blessed life, essentially. Now, if you look at that chain that I've talked about, there is no point in that entire chain where decision making and networking and money and finance are expressly taught. No point. It would take a deliberate understanding of the fact that, oh, I want to master money. Because, by the way, when I say money and finance here, I'm not talking about, money and finance as a university course of study. So some of you might be thinking, Davies, you just said something that isn't true here. They teach money and finance university. They teach money and finance in the university to the degree that money and finance is a course. They teach you to the degree that money and finance is a discipline, right? So for people who want to go into investment banking and accounting and things of that nature, yes, this is something that they will learn. But what I am about to teach you is not money and finance for people that want to go into investment banking. It's money and finance as a life skill, an understanding of how money works, how finance works, so that you can effectively manage it and you can maximize it in your own personal life. So that is the reason why I've included it as one of those things that they don't talk about at any point in that ecosystem. But guess what? Despite the fact that there is no point in that entire societal chain where these things are talked about, at every single point of that societal chain, you would require all these three. It's amazing that these things are ever present, but they are almost never taught. Zoba, it's so good to see you. They are almost never taught, but it is always present with us. Even from the point, right, from the very point when you were born, you started making decisions. Up until the point that you're going to die, you keep making decisions. You keep building relationships with people, which is what networking is all about. And you're going to keep engaging with money. It is just what it is. So you cannot run away from it in any way, shape, or form. So I really hope, my expectation for this conversation is that we all will come to a place of light, that we all will come to a place of awareness, so much so that we can become more conscious about what is going on with our decision making, the process of our decision making. We can be more conscious with regards to the process of networking and building meaningful relationships. And we can be more conscious about the flow of money and understanding how it works so that we can maximize it. Because even God requires that we are faithful with the unrighteous mammon, otherwise known as money. So these are essentials that I really hope that we can get to today. I'm confident that we will get to it today. But my earnest prayer and expectation, based on your collaboration, is that, you will understand these concepts and you will see yourself in the light of these three things, and you can become more conscious of them. Because right now, you know about these three things, but at a subconscious, untrained level. I hope we're going to get to a better place today. All right, so let's go. The first thing that I would like us to touch on is decision making. What is decision making, and why is it important? Why should we even bother about it? First of all, you must understand that at every single point in your life, you're making decisions. In fact, it's such a subconscious process that you are not aware that you're doing it. The fact that you are in this webinar today is based on a decision that you took. In fact, you took that decision a few minutes ago, but you did not think about it when you were taking the decision. You did not actively think about the fact that, oh, what decision should I take? Should I do it or should I not? Should I attend or should I not attend? At some point, you have made that decision already. And when the time came, you took a decision to click the button. Decision making is an essential part of life, regardless of what you do. In your spiritual life, you make decisions. It's as simple as, should I pray before I sleep or I should not pray before I sleep? It's a decision. Should I brush my teeth or should I not brush my teeth? It's a decision. It cuts across every area of life: health, relationships, work, academics, spirituality, every single area. So the question for me that I think that everybody should then ask is, if this thing is so important, if I do it all the time, how about I just take the extra step to doing it well? Let me share something with you that I've always shared with a lot of people that are around me. I believe very strongly that God only gave us humans two resources. Two things, that's all God gave us. He didn't give us any other thing. He only gave us two things. And I strongly believe that we all are going to be judged. The Bible expressly, emphasizes that we're all going to be judged at some point. we all are going to be judged on how we use those resources, the decisions we made about those two resources. And those two resources are what? Time and Jesus. Those are the two resources that God only gave us. Everybody has an equal measure of time. Everybody has an equal measure of Jesus. Every other resource that you can think about on earth is created by those two things. Every other thing. I mean, the money we're talking about is created with time. Every other type of resource. So if God is going to judge, everybody has this thing in equal measure. So if God is going to judge us based on this, it means that we're going to be evaluated at the end of the day. Our life, the totality of our life, is going to be evaluated based on the quality of the decisions that we make. What did you do with Jesus? What did you do with time? What did you do with Jesus? Did you accept him? Did you not? Did you build a relationship with him? Did you not? What did you do with time? Did you spend it producing? Did you spend it consuming? Did you spend it building up or tearing down? These are things that we're going to be judged on. Hence the reason why you must come to a place of deep understanding as to what the importance of decision making is. Now, let me just preface this whole thing by saying that this 3 things that we're combining into a 40 minutes class is stuff for an entire course, right? Each of them being different courses. But I'm going to share with you the things that I feel are the most critical things that you must know per topic. So decision making, let's go. Now on your screen, you have a flow. Now this flow that you have on your screen essentially is how we make decisions. The decisions that we make, right, are primarily based on these 4 factors. So let me quickly explain them. So if you think about your life, right, there's what we call the conscious mind, there's what we call the subconscious mind, right? Please be mindful of those 2 terms. The conscious mind is the active mind that, is active, you're having active communications back and forth with your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is a bigger part of your mind. It's suppressed, you're not aware of it, but it is functional and it is operational, right? So whenever you think about anything at all, right, you generally move from a place of unconscious incompetence to a place of unconscious competence. Let me explain what those mean. So first, take anything in life. The popular example that I like to use is driving, right? Take anything in life. You always start from a place of unconscious incompetence. So what that means is you don't know how to do that thing, right? But you are not even aware that you don't know how to do that thing. That's what it means. You are unconscious about it, about the fact that you are incompetent. Unconscious incompetence. So you don't know how to do a thing, but you're not even aware that you don't know how to do it. So in the case of driving, by the time you are, 4, 5, 6, 7, at all those points, you're not even aware that you don't know how to drive. You don't even know, right? Even though you see cars around, that your parents have a car, you're not aware. It doesn't register in your mind that you don't know how to drive. Then, as you grow up, maybe by the time you enter into your teenage years and you go to school and you begin to learn more about life, you understand the whole concept about driving. You see that there is a car in the compound, but you do not know how to drive. At that point, you know now that, oh, I don't know how to drive, but now you are conscious about the fact. Then what happens after that is, because you're not conscious about the fact that you don't know how to drive, that is, you now have consciousness about the fact that you are incompetent. The next thing that you tend to do is that you tend towards learning that competence. So I don't know how to drive. Man, how can I be 18 and I don't know how to drive? Then what do? You go and learn how to drive. By the time you go learn how to drive, you get to a place of what we call conscious competence, meaning that you now know how to do it, but you need to engage your conscious mind in order to do it effectively. So that is the phase where you just learned how to drive. So you are driving and you put the learner sign behind your vehicle and in front of your vehicle, because as you're driving, before you make a right turn, before you turn your steering right, you have to think about it. Okay, I'm approaching now, I have to turn. Before you step on the brake, when you're learning or when you just learn to drive, you're conscious, you're mindful. Oh, I have to press brake. Oh, I have to. That is the reason why people that are learning to drive always sit up. because they are conscious, they are totally alert to every single thing that they have to do. They have to think about it before they do it. And then finally, as you continue to drive, you get to a place of unconscious incompetence, meaning that you now know how to do this thing so well that you're not even thinking about it to do it. You're not even thinking about it. I don't know how many of you have, everybody that drives has had this experience where you drove from one point to the other without thinking about it. And you just got to your destination, you were thinking, oh, when did I pass this place? When did I pass this place? You were there, you were driving, you were mindful, but your conscious mind was not engaged. It's the reason why you can confidently have conversations when you're driving, because you don't need all your conscious faculties to actually press the brake, accelerate, turn the steering, engage the gears. You don't need to do all of that. Now, the reason why I'm sharing all of this with you is that, first of all, when it comes to decision making, if you are in a place of unconscious incompetence, which is a point where you didn't even know decision making was a thing, and you probably have been making bad decisions, but you were not conscious about it. Hopefully, with all of the things that have happened with this conversation that we're having today, and the things that have happened before now as members of this community, you have come to a place of conscious incompetence. Like, oh, I've been making bad decisions in my life, and now I'm aware of it. So we need to move to a place where we're making good decisions. Now that you have agreed that you want to move to the place where you're making good decisions, right? That is what this conversation is for, so that you can understand how to make decisions right. And then over time, as you keep doing these things over and over again, by the time I share with you the things I want to share with you in full, and you come to a place of understanding, right, of how decisions should be made, especially when it comes to formalized decisions. So maybe you're making a decision in church, at work, in school, things of that nature, then you're going to begin to make better decisions. And as you keep practicing these principles over time, you will just become a person by default who makes great decisions. Let me end this slide with this. At the apex of every single industry is management, regardless of what you're studying. Nursing, accounting, biochemicals, whatever it is you're studying, whatever industry you're in, the highest level of that industry is a management position. And the people that ascend to management roles, why do they ascend to management roles? They ascend to management roles for one major reason, because the one job description at management positions is decision making. So your ability to make great decisions is what gets you promoted in your workplace. And I will just use that as an example that relates to decision making, and you can expatiate it to every area of life. It is not just in the workplace. Decision making is what gets you to the highest levels of whatever you want to do in your life. If you're going to finish with a 5.0 CGPA at the end of your academic career, it is completely based on the decisions that you make. All right. So how do you make decisions? Guys, what I'm going to share with you is a very technical response, because what I'm trying to do here is bring your conscious mind into what your subconscious mind already does, the structure. Now, this thing that you have on your screen is a structure. This actually is the structure by which your subconscious mind makes decision. But you don't know it because you have not actively learned it. But your subconscious mind, this is all it considers. So it might look like it's much, right? But please bear with me. I don't have a lot of time to explain it, but I'm going to try to do the best job that I can within the time frame that we have. Please, could you all confirm that you can still hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So if you take a look at this whole diagram, I shaped it like a man so that you have a clear understanding that you can visualize. Decision making is at the center, right? Now, the thing is, why do we make decisions? We make decisions because we have goals, right? And based on the decisions, so we have goals. Goals are things that we want to accomplish. And then because of that goal that we have, we take a decision. And based on the decision that we take, there is an outcome. The decision results in something. So now, by design, The objective is that you make decisions that would create outcomes that is consistent with your goals. So your objective is that having made your decision, your outcome is consistent with the goal that you want. That is how your mind makes decisions. However, many times, as a lot of you, as everybody can testify, your decisions do not always result in the exact goal that you've set. Now, why is this? The reason why is because when it comes to decisions, there are two important factors that you must think about. There are actually 5 factors, but 2 directly important factors. The first is design of the decision, the design of the decision. The second is the person or the people making the decision. Now, what do I mean by design? You see, as far as any decision is concerned, it operates on the principle of cause and effect. There's a principle in life that if you do something, there's always going to be a result for. So you must understand the cause and effect relationship between the decision and the outcome. For instance, my goal is to have, 10 tons of maize at the end of, December. That's my goal. So if that is my goal, what is the cause that would create that effect? That is the question that my subconscious mind asks. Or the cause that would create that effect is that I either go and buy 100 tons of maize, or I cultivate a land to produce 100 tons of maize. So I don't want to buy, I want to cultivate. So what decisions must I take? I must, research as to what expanse of land must I plant to get 100 tons of maize. Then I must go get that expanse of land. Then I must plant, I must water, I must do all the process, and then I would harvest by December. That is the cause and effect relationship. That is essentially how it works. It's a long process, but I'm just simplifying it with this diagram. So when it comes to decision making, there is first the design of the decision. So in this example that I've used, that my goal is to get 100 tons of maize by December. The design is I'm going to get a farm, plant maize, harvest, and then ensure that my harvest is equivalent to 10 tons of maize. That's the design. If you do all of these things, you will get this outcome. That's the first element of your decision. There's always the design to your decision. The second element to it is the people. In some cases, it is you. In some cases, it is others. And the question there is, who is best positioned to implement this design? You see, the combination of those two things is what makes up decisions. Who is the best person to implement this design? Or who are the best people to implement this design? I really, really do hope that I am not making this thing too complex for you guys, but please just follow my flow. If you try to practice this thing and you're conscious about it, over time, it will become seamless. I'm just bringing your conscious mind to the complexity of what your subconscious mind processes. Now, when I say people, essentially using my example, because we need to move on, using my example, it is, am I the best person? So take a look at my example. So you need to cultivate the land, but you're not in agriculture. You have not been trained to be a farmer or anything of that nature. So the question is, are you the best person to implement that design? Now, the mistake that a lot of people make is that because I was the one who came up with the goal, I must be the one to take the decisions. It's not always true. For instance, if you are sick in your body, right, and then you're very sick, you then set a goal for yourself that you must get healed. It is you who has set the goal, and then because you then design the process. Oh, how do I get healed? I have to go to the hospital. I have to see the doctor. By the time you implement that design and you get to the doctor, and the doctor recommends that, oh, you have to do a surgery. You would not say, oh, because I'm the one who said I want to get healed, I must be the one to perform the surgery myself. As far as the design of that execution is concerned, somebody else is better positioned. So every time you want to make a decision, you must be mindful of the fact that, number one, what is the cause and effect relationship that would make this thing happen? So you must go do your research in that regard. I want to get, 5.5 over 5 in my CGPA. How do they get it done? Let me go online and do some research. Let me speak to somebody that has achieved it before. You must understand the cause and effect relationship that happens to get that outcome out. The second thing is you must always ask yourself, am I the right person to make this decision? Sometimes you are the right person. Sometimes you are not. You have to cede that decision to other people. You must be able to make that decision. Now, what then is the case when it is you that has to make the decision? I'm going to touch on this very quickly before we move on. You can see that the shape of the head in my diagram, right? The shape of the head is written HLY. Even though I tried my best to stretch it to look like a face with eyes and nose and mouth, it is actually HLY. HLY stands for higher level U. HLY, higher level U. Let me tell you what it means. Every time you have to make a decision, right, there are two U's that come into conflict. So there is the higher level U, there's the lower level U. There's the higher level Zoba and the lower level Zoba. There's the higher level Femi and the lower level Femi. Now, let me quickly describe. The higher level, the lower level U prioritizes comfort. The higher level U prioritizes adventure. So your lower level you is concerned about protecting you and protecting your status quo. Your higher level you is interested in exploring that you can get to your highest potential. These are the two U's that are always battling in every single decision. Let me use a very simple example. I can't explain much further, but I'm going to use a simple example and we're going to move on. Here's the example. When you heard about this program, right, you actually came to a point where you were thinking, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I register? Should I not register? Right? If the decision was, the guy saying don't register is the lower level you. The guy saying register is the high level you. If you ask your lower level you, why are you saying I should not register? It's going to be, man, it's going to be another, 1 hour webinar. How many webinars have you attended this month? Just relax, at least chill. It's concerned about comfort. The higher level you is like, register for this webinar. Why? Because you're going to learn stuff. It's going to improve you. You're probably going to find out something that's going to make you a better person. It's explorative. Now, the idea is this. In order for you to always make the right decisions, you must always enthrone the higher level you. Here's the thing. The lower level you is concerned about first order consequences. The higher level you is concerned about second order and subsequent order consequences. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So higher level you says we need to, so you set a goal. I want to, become fit. I want to become physically fit. So what are you going to do? The design is that I'm going to start exercising every morning, right? And then the people is obviously I'm the one that has to do it. Fantastic. This decision has been made. So tomorrow morning comes and then you wake up in the morning. You remember that you have decided that you're going to start exercising. And then you want to stand up to start exercising. The lower level you says to you, oh, come on. Do you want to break this sweet sleep? Because the lower level you know that the first order consequence of taking that decision, right, is that you're going to lose the enjoyment of sleep and you are going to be in pain. You're going to stress your body, which is going to be some form of pain, tolerable pain. That's the first thing that's going to happen. I mean, when you're exercising, the first thing is, it's not a smooth process. That's why not everybody does it. It gives you some level of pain. It is tolerable, but some level of pain. Your body doesn't love pain. This is the reason why a lot of people do not exercise. So your lower level you is concerned about that first order consequence. But your higher level you says, yes, that is going to happen. But then what is the second order consequence? By exercising, you're going to stretch your muscle. By stretching your muscles, you're going to be better trained, and then you're going to accomplish your goal of fitness. So it is concerned about second order consequences and subsequent order consequences. Now, in many instances, second order consequences and subsequent order consequences are the type of consequences that you're looking for. Those are the consequences that brings advancement in life. Lower level you type decisions that are concerned about first order consequences, they make you stagnate. They keep you at the same spot. So the idea is this: enthrone the higher level you at all times. Then you will be able to find the right designs, the right people, and you'll be able to make the kind of decisions that would produce outcomes that are consistent with your goals. Now, every time you're making a decision, you must always be able to differentiate between opinion and fact, right? Facts are substantive truths, right, that would aid your decisions. Opinions, sometimes they help, sometimes they don't help. These are, what people feel, what people think. Somebody might think, oh, you should begin to work out. Somebody might think, oh, you're fine as you are. What opinions you can discount, but be mindful of the facts that surround your decisions. And also, in order for you to make good decisions, you must have a body of learnings. So take, for instance, my decision to agree to be a part of this program and to facilitate this session is because I have learned over time about what I am being asked to talk about, right? I have learned over time. So I have that capability inside of me already. So the reason why I put those two things there outside of the body is that facts are important, you must be mindful of them. Learnings are important, you must be mindful of them. By the time you consider these two things and you set a goal, you are able to then find the cause and effect relationship that would create the outcomes for that goal, and you'll be able to decide if you're the right person to do that or the other, or you're not. If you're the right person, ensure that you do it by enthroning your higher level you, because your lower level you is actually quite lazy. All right, so that's all I'm going to share with you about decision making. It has taken a lot of our time. I'm also mindful about Q&A because I believe that when we do Q&As, it is best because it allows me to tailor my responses to the specific questions that matter to you personally. So please, if you have questions, please ensure that you note them down, right? Let's move on to networking. I'm going to be fast on this one. Now, when it comes to networking essentially is building relationships with people. That's all that it means, building relationships with people. And this is very important. I cannot go into detail as to how it is important, but I'm going to give you a statement of fact that lets you know that networking is important. I believe that a lot of us prioritize our relationship with God. We love God, we know God, and all of that, right? God himself is the one who instituted networking because God said in the very beginning that it is not good for man to be alone. End of story. It is not good for man to be alone. It is a statement of fact that God has made based on his observation. You cannot be alone. You must network. You must network and build relationships. Now, a lot of people have heard a lot of myths about networking that makes them not be able to effectively network. Number one, they say networking is only for extroverts. It's a lie. Because introverts have friends as well. There was some way that you built those relationships. And here's the thing, extroverts and introverts, everybody succeeds. There are a lot of introverts across the world that are very, very successful. Some of you don't know because you see them, they come out, they talk and all of those things, right? But if you read their stories, you know that they're real introverts. There are some people that are able to switch it on and switch it off. When they have to make an appearance, they'll make an appearance that they'll be best at it. And then when they're done with the appearance, they go back into their normal lives, they keep to themselves and all of that. But even with that, it does not mean that they don't build relationships, because building relationships is an essential part of business. It's an essential part of spirituality. Even the Bible says we should not forsake the gathering of the brethren. It is a system on earth that is essential for our survival and for our success. So networking is critical, whether you're an extrovert or you're an introvert. You have no excuse. Some people say, oh, if I try to meet somebody and introduce myself or something, I may get snubbed. It's not true to a very large degree, because people are interested in you coming to them as well. See, let me tell you, when somebody approaches you, it gives you validation that you are worth approaching. And that fuels your ego. You might not have thought about it in that very simple and rudimentary way before, but I just put it to you. When somebody approaches you for something, if somebody comes to you and says, please, can I have, $10,000? You feel good, even though you don't think about it, that, you know, somebody thinks that I'm worth $10,000. I can give out $10,000. You know, when somebody comes to you and say, you know, please give me some food, even when you were a child and your friend will beg you for food, you know, you feel good because you are the owner of the food. So sometimes you say, I only give you 1 spoon, or I only give you 2 spoons. You know, those things we did as children. That I'm going there to see that this thing is basic to human nature. When somebody comes to you, approaches you, he feels your ego. It is what it is. You see, when people go to events, right, and they're all seated at events, right, everybody's sitting and, you know, they're mindful. They're thinking about it, or, you know, but they don't want to be the first because they are afraid. They then go to their phones, you know, and all of that. The idea is very simple. When you approach somebody, right, it opens that person up and it opens you up as well. And see, have there been instances in the history of the world where people got snubbed? Yes. But if you were not responded to in like manner, it can be a number of reasons, right? It could be because they are not interested in what you're selling or what you're proposing or the value that you bring, or you have approached in the wrong way. Those are the 2 basic reasons why people get, you know, rejected in court, right? But even when you get rejected, understand that it is not a rejection of you, the person. It is a rejection of what you're offering or the approach with which you reached out to the person, right? I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But another thing people say is people are not interested, you know, it's a lie. Everybody's looking for somebody to add value to them. Every single person is looking for somebody to add value to them. And this is human nature. So it's a myth. So how essentially do you then network? You essentially network by networking. You go and meet people and have conversations. Let me give you a few quick tricks, right? Every time you're going to meet somebody, approach with a smile. Not a ridiculous smile that will make them suspicious, but a very simple, basic smile. And then, you know, be polite in your manners. And then understand the fact that people build relationships and people network based on the fact that this relationship will add value to me. We don't think about it, but that is what we do. If a relationship is not going to add value to you, you don't create an opportunity to build that relationship. Even when contact happens, you do not allow the contact to mature into a relationship. This is what we do all the time. Everybody does it. When somebody comes to you and you're not interested in building a relationship with that person, you do something to dismiss the person. Now, what typically has happened there is that you have perceived in your subconscious mind that the relationship with this person cannot bring value. So in order for you to build solid relationships, you must add value. And if the idea is that you must add value, how will people know that you can add value? Because, I mean, you're just not working with them, you're just meeting them. They've never met you before, right? So how do they know that you are the kind of person that can add value to them? The way that they will know is that even with your manner of approach, you demonstrate, please, emphasis on the word demonstrate, that you are a person of value. It is God that looks at the heart. I am not God. Human beings are not God. We can't see the heart. We can't see your intentions. Please, guys, please, Femi, can you confirm that you guys can still hear me? Please, can someone confirm that you can still hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. We are not God. We can't see your intentions. So I can't look at you and see your history. I don't know what you've done. So the idea for me, as you're approaching me, what helps me to understand that, okay, this person might be a person of value, let me entertain them, is how you approach. How you approach must demonstrate value. And how do you do this? Number one, the way you dress. This is the reason why I say to people, regardless of where you're going, dress well. This is something that I learned from my mentor of blessed memory. He got out of jail. He was not sent to jail simply because of the way he dresses. I kid you not. For those of you who like to know, go research the story. I'm not sure is the details of the story is public knowledge, but so don't let me talk about that. I don't think it's public knowledge. But I tell you, he was not sent to jail. He missed getting sent to jail because he always dresses well. Always dresses well. Never miss an opportunity to dress well. Even some people say, oh, I'm just going to class. Oh, I'm just going to the market. Please dress well. Dressing well does not mean that you're wearing, as a man, you're wearing suit and tie at every single point. No, it's simply dressing cleanly and appropriately, right? Your dressing must be appropriate for the situation. It doesn't mean dressing expensively. It means be dressed appropriately. Second thing is your manner of approach. How you approach people also matters, right? So don't just say, there's something we do in Nigeria, is, hey, or, you know, we do the you got style. I know. You know, but you know, people can do some very, very funny things. You're seated together with somebody in an event and you wanted to approach the person, you are tapping the person, or you're tapping them on the hand or on the lap or something of that. That's wrong. That's wrong. Or you approach with an ask or a beggarly type of tone. All right, let's move on. Then how you introduce yourself matters. Some people don't even bother to introduce themselves. Please let the world know that you are here. Introduce yourself well. And see, I can't go deeply into this thing, but let me just say one thing. When you are introducing yourself, a lot of people, an awful lot of people have a habit of rushing through their names. I don't know, maybe you're afraid of your name, or maybe you feel your name is too long or complex. If you feel it's complex, simplify it then. It's your name, right? Hi, my name is Davies. Okay, I emphasize it because I know that my name can be easily confused with David. My name is not David. My name is Davies. Emphasize your name. Enunciate it properly. Let them know. Introduce yourself clearly and with confidence. My name is a name to be remembered. So is yours. Then the things that you say when you make that connection would demonstrate whether you're a person of value or not, and how you say it would demonstrate whether you're a person of value or not. For instance, you approach somebody online and you say, please, I would like you to mentor me, which is something that I get a lot. If you go straight away and say that, you can be rest assured that you and I are not going to have a mentorship relationship. It kills it right then and there. So, but it's not the fact that you ask for mentorship that is the problem. Let me tell you a better way to say it. Hello, sir. I have been watching with close attention the things that you have been sharing. And I really loved what you shared about this and this, because it felt this, and that. I would like an opportunity to have a 5-minute conversation with you about XYZ. Is this something you are open to? You have given the control to me. You have demonstrated value by your manner of ask. I will say yes, 10 out of 10 times. What you say matters, how you say it matters. That's it about networking. Let's quickly move to money and finance. You see, this one is, I'm going to simplify it. I'm going to get it done in a manner of 4 minutes so that we can take the next 20 minutes or 15 minutes is, I think, what we would have left after 4 minutes to do Q&As. So money and finance. Let me tell you very simply, money, there's a difference between money and finance. Let me tell you what the difference is. Money is money. We all know what money is. But finance, right, is money and the equivalent of money. So money is a type of finance, right? And the different types of finance are, you have money, you have credit, and then you have financial instruments. Those are the 3 types of finance that you have. So that's the reason why I distinguished it and called it money and finance. With money and finance, let me share with you some quick bullet points before I go into the 2 major things I want to talk about. Number 1 thing you must keep being aware of when it comes to money and finance is this. Money responds to value. Value is how money is created. So if you want money, you have to create value. Some people say they are chasing money. You don't chase money, because the more you chase money, the more money runs away from you. But if you want money, you have to attract money. Money is attracted, is like a magnet, is attracted to value. Anytime, anywhere there's value, money is always looking for it. So if you want more money, create more value. If you create more value, then more money will come to you. That's the first thing. Number two, credit is the easiest form of money to create, because credit is the easiest form of money to create. How do you create credit? With your trustworthiness and your words. With thin air, your words, but the content of your character joined to it, you can create credit. If I want to buy a brand new computer, I either have to give them money and get the computer, or give them a promise. I would pay you. Now, I will pay you at the end of September. That is a promise. What would determine if that currency that I've exchanged is worth the exchange for that product is if that person believes that my character is the kind of character of the person that's going to make good on their word. So if you want to master the art of money on the one hand and finance on the other hand, you must have a good character. You must build your character and build a very good reputation. Those are two things I want to quickly say. So the thing is, the question in everybody's mind is very simple. How do I make more money? I'm going to tell you how. Now, you see, this is the way money flows. Cash comes into your hands based on the value that you create. So whether you are an employee employed somewhere, or you are an employer of labor, money comes into your hands, or whatever it is, you shall get income. From the income that you get, you spend money. After you spend money, whatever is left is called your free cash flow. So your cash inflow minus your expenses gives you your free cash flow. Your free cash flow is money that is left over after your expenses. Now, for a lot of people, after their expenses, they don't have any money left over. If you are one of those people, there are one of two things that are wrong. It's either you're not making enough money or you're spending too much. It can only be one of those two things. If you're spending too much, please make adjustments. If you're not making enough money, you need to go upgrade your skills so that you can make better money and you can make more money. Now, my focus is going to be on free cash flow because this is how money is made, right? If you are going to become wealthy, or if you are going to build your wealth, you must always have free cash flow. Now, free cash flow is what you have left over. And what you do with free cash flow is that you save it and then ultimately you invest it. You need to save your money consistently to the point where it is investable. The end game is not savings, because a lot of people talk about savings. The end game is not saving. You save so that you can invest. Why must you invest? Because when you invest, right, your money begins to make money by itself, independent of your own work. If you invest right, your money begins to make money by itself, independent of your own work. And Jeff Bezos is deemed to be the richest man in the world today. In fact, about 5 days ago, the news broke that he's the first man in the history of the world to be worth $200 billion. Now, the question is, does it mean that Jeff Bezos collects actual cash of $200 billion? Absolutely not. The $200 billion net worth is based on his investments. If you go online, you probably are going to find Jeff Bezos' salary on an annual basis. His salary cannot be more than $10 million. I don't care who he is. His salary cannot be more than $10 million per annum. Okay, no, let me even be very generous. His salary cannot be more than $50 million per annum. Right? $50 million to 200 billion, it's a long way. It is investments that create his wealth. So this is the reason why you must have money left over. You save your money. When your money builds up to a point where you can invest it, you invest it so that your investments can bring in more money. Now, this is the end. This is where I'm going to wrap up with. This is how money flows. And I want you to be mindful of this. The reason why I decided to add this is just for the sake of those of you that are thinking that, you know, I want to make more money, so let me start a business. Me, I'm an entrepreneur. I support many entrepreneurs. My businesses serves entrepreneurs. I love entrepreneurship as a concept, but I always want people. This thing is not easy. And this is the reason why I want to show you this. I'm wrapping up now. This is the reason why I want to show you this. You see, when you start a business, when the combination of your mind, your spirit, somebody's mic is on. Okay. When the combination of your mind, your spirit, your soul, and your body, everybody came together and said, okay, let's have a meeting. We want to start a business. Please, this thing I'm about to share with you, keep it in your mind. What I have right here on my screen, for those of you that are accounting students or finance students, or those of you that have been entrepreneur, you can relate to what I have on my screen. This typically is the flow of an income statement. What is an income statement? An income statement is the accounting table that shows the financial performance of a business and the profit that it has made, right? But there is something deeper about an income statement that a lot of people do not know, right? If you're not trained, you would not know it, but let me share it with you. So typically, money comes in forms of sales, right? Then after that, you have what we call the cost of sale, which is the cost of the goods and services that you sold in order to bring in those sales. So I bought 10 mobile phones. Right? That is the cost of sale. Then I sold those 10 mobile phones at a profit. So I have now made a profit. That profit that you have is called the gross profit, right? From that profit, you then deduct salaries, payroll, and other expenses, your internet, electricity, and transportation, all the other expenses. Now, after that, you then deduct interest that on the loans that you may have taken. And then after that, you pay taxes to the government. Then whatever is left is your net profit that is left to you to consume. Let me give you the hidden interpretation for this that a lot of people do not know. And then we'll wrap up with that. When sales come in, right, what equates that to the cash inflow that I talked about here. And guys, everybody, every single human being, whether you run a business or you don't, you can create an income statement for yourself. But when sales come in, right, equate it to the free cash flow that I talk about here. Okay, so that is money that has come in. Who is the first person to get paid when money comes in? Look at this list. Cost of sales. Suppliers are the first people to get paid. Who are the second set of people to get paid? Employees are the second set of people. Then after employees, you have your electricity bill, the internet provider, this person, that person, your landlord. Those are the other people that you pay. You pay everybody. Then after paying everybody, what are the next set of people to get paid? Interest, the bank, if you owe money, or wherever you owe money to your creditors. After you pay your creditors, what are the next people to get paid? The government. After the government, then you have net profit. That money, net profit, is for you. So think about it. Because you will say you want to make more money, you're an entrepreneur, right? The reason why you want to start a business is because you want to make more money. Just keep this in mind. When you make the money, the first person that will get paid are suppliers. You are the one who took all the risk. The first person to get paid are your suppliers. The second person to get paid are your employees. The third person to get paid is your landlord and everybody else. The fourth person to get paid is the bank. The fifth person to get paid is the government. You get paid last. Think about this very carefully before you start a business. Thank you very much. We are done.
Man of God. Thank you so very much, Davies. Thank you so very much.
It's been an honor, so we can take questions.
Yes. I'm looking forward to the questions. I hope we've been typing our questions. Hurry up to the chat session, to the chat area, and type in your questions very quickly, please. Type in your questions. And let's see what questions you have for Davies. Davies, that was a very packed session. I know that you have to squeeze so many things into 1 hour, but thank you so very much. So in the few minutes remaining, please go to the chat session, type in your questions, and and so that Mr. Davies can respond to you. Mr. Davies, we thank you so very much for that very packed session. While you are typing our questions, let's not forget Mr. Davies will be on next week, Friday. Next week again for 1 hour session on a completely different topic. If you think today was packed, you should wait for next week. Next week is on an entire on the 11th of September, same time, same station, 11th of September. He'll be talking about career essentials, building a very conscious career. Some of us are, a lot of us are students. We're transitioning from university to the business world, to our careers, repositioning your career for relevance. And basically all the other careers, all the other essentials that you need for your career. This is at the 11th of September, 2020 on this same platform. Please set a reminder on your phone now. He's taught us about making decisions. This is one good decision you can make. You can go to your reminder on your phone and put that reminder there. 5 p.m. 5 p.m. That is not Cyprus time. 5 p.m. 3 p.m. Nigerian time. 5 p.m. not Cyprus time. On CACF Zoom channel. Okay, so let's go into our chat session and type in our questions there. Any questions that you have or anything that was not clear, type it in there, and then you can go. One more thing though, I think that I want Davies to just quickly, he talked about savings and investment. And then he said that if you're not saving, it's either you are spending too much or you are not making enough money. I found that very, oh, sorry. Yeah, you're earning too little. I found that very, very interesting. Just while we're waiting for the questions to come in, I think you just have a few minutes to go, just a few minutes. Please go to the chat session, type your questions there. Don't be shy. This is not the time to be shy. This is not the time to be shy, trust me. Okay, so how do we know if we're either earning too little or we're spending too much? Because you said, oh, I mean, I could be earning, I'm going to use our currency here. So we're earning, say, 1,000 TL, 1,005, 800 TL. And to me, I'm giving an example now, obviously. To me, maybe the amount, I feel like the amount is small, like, this money is too small, I'm not going to save. And so for that reason, I have put that in my mind. And for that reason, I'm not saving at all. So how then do we know, okay, is the money too small, or is it that I'm spending too much, or I don't have a budget? How do we draw the line in both of them? So while Mr. Davies answers that question, don't forget, go to the chat session, type your questions so Mr. Davies can attend to us. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Femi, for that question. It's such an interesting question. So the question is, how do you know that how do you know if you're earning too little or if you're spending too much? Here's the litmus test for me. You see, everything that just like time, right? Just like time, everything that you do with your money, every expense that you make can be categorized into two. Your expenses are either productive expenses or consumption expenses. Just as the way you use your time can either be productive activities or consumption activities. Now, mind you, the richest nations in the world are producing nations. The richest people in the world are producing people. The poorest nations in the world are consuming nations. The poorest people in the world are, consuming people. Now, so how do you know if you're spending too much? Every time you spend money, you are either spending money on a productive activity or okay, so every time you spend money, you are either spending money on it's either a productive expense or a consumption expense. Now, what is a productive expense? A productive expense is any money that you spend that enables you, right, to become better or to be sustained so that you can produce more. I'll give you an example. If you spend money to buy food and you eat, what happens is you have used your money to buy a raw material that would give you strength. With strength, you can produce. If you use your money to buy a book, you have bought a resource, right, that you can consume, right, that when you then consume, it gives you knowledge that enables you to produce. So think about it as raw materials, right? However, you cannot say that because you need raw materials, you then overstock on raw materials. Because when you overstock, what happens is you are only able to use a few and then the others deteriorate. Let me give you practical examples. When you overeat, it is no longer nourishment to your body. It becomes a problem to your body. When you overread without application, right, what you then begin to have is information overload. You only get to use very little of the information and every other thing gets discarded. So the idea is this: when you're spending money, you spend on the right proportion that would fuel you for productivity. Now, any excess outside of monies that you spend in proportion for productivity is excess. Just let me put it that way. Any excess is excess. You don't need it, right? It's not essential. So how do you know if you're spending too much? It's very simple. Take an inventory of what you've spent money on in the past month. Every single dollar, every single TL, every single naira, every single one. Take an inventory of how much you spent on what, and then look at the things that you spent money on and ask yourself, is this a productive expense? Did I did I need this when I bought it? Should I be spending money on this? Sometimes you do this evaluation, you find out that the money that you spend on hanging out and having fun far outweighs the monies that you spend on, the core productive raw materials. Anyways, by the time you make that distinction, you can cut out the excesses. I'm not saying cut them out totally, because I mean, every once in a while, you want to splurge on yourself. That is fine. Perfectly fine. I do it myself, but you need to cut that out and ensure that, the expenses, for me, I would just tell you, adopt the 80-20 principle. Ensure that 80% of what you spend is on productive expenses and 20% of what you spend is on consumption expenses. So long as you have that, then you would have cut your expenses into the right proportion. But if your expenses is already in that form, then definitely the problem is that you're not making enough money, because you have to eat, you have to live in a place, you have to move around, and you must have money for living expenses, right? Generally speaking, and maybe a little bit of money as well to invest in yourself, and some money to save, and some money to invest, right? These are all the things that you must have money to do. If the money that you bring in as income is not enough to do all of this, especially in the case where your expenses has been cut predominantly to productive activity, then you're not making enough money. You need to make more.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Davies. Thank you. That was a very, very powerful answer there. Productive and consumption expenses. Thank you. So I have a question here. Before I read that question though, don't forget, put a reminder on your phone right now. Put a reminder on your phone right now. 11th of September, 5 p.m. Mr. Davies is going to be here. And it's going to about career essentials, how to transition our career. Set a reminder right now, right now. I'll wait for you a few more seconds. I'll give you a few more seconds. Just go to your phone, go to your reminder, put it there, 5 p.m., 11th of September. Make a good decision right now. Okay, Emmanuel Pablo has asked a question. He says, the question is about, they talked about entrepreneur and how to spend their income. Is there a way to spend money better as an entrepreneur? Or should we venture into any other thing than being an entrepreneur? I'm guessing the question here is when you talked about being an entrepreneur, is there a way to do it better, or should we do any other thing? I think that, I'll just let you do your thing.
Okay, fantastic question, Ima. So here's the thing, Emmanuel. There is no better way. What I shared with you is the standard, right? When you go into a business and you're a business owner, those are things that must happen. You must give money to suppliers, give money to employees, give money to landlords and everybody. You must do it. The reason why I shared it with you is this: be prepared. I love entrepreneurship. I'm encouraging you to be an entrepreneur, but I am not one of those. I'm not a motivational speaker telling you have to take your life into your own hands and you have to build a business. And so I'm telling you the truth of what building a business is. I built 3. I'm still building them, right? I'm just telling you, you need to be aware of these things and prepare your mind, because once you know it, again, it goes to what I was saying earlier about conscious competence. Once you know it, you can fine-tune your decision making. So you can then set up a business in such a way that your margins, that is the sales that come in. So margin is the difference between your cost price and your selling price, right? So you must build your business in such a way that your margin is large enough. So much so that after you have sold all your products in a particular year or a particular month, the sales that come in, that is the revenue that comes in, is more than enough to pay all those people and still give you the largest share. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? So if 100%, or let me use examples, if 1 million naira came in sales, you want to be sure that your business is built in such a way that after everybody is paid, at least there is $200,000 left. If 1 million TL came in as income, you must ensure that after paying suppliers, employees, landlord, bank, government, everybody, you have 200,000 TL left. That is when you, and actually that 20%, 200,000 is like the standard you should aim for. It could be higher, it could be lesser, but that should be like the ideal, really. So this should be your focus and this should be your target. Because with that, then you are getting the largest share. You're getting 20%. Every other person is sharing 80%, and no particular one person will get up to 20%. That is the idea. So I shared it so that you can be prepared. I'm not saying, oh, because of this, don't become an entrepreneur. Just go get employed somewhere and build a career. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can choose to go the career if that is what appeals to you, if that is what, if that is the path that God has laid out for you or that you've chosen for yourself, or in accordance with God's will, whichever. And if it is entrepreneurship, that is the path that you want to tread, be mindful of this so that you can build a business that will bring in enough revenue to take care of everybody and still take care in a very good way of yourself, right? You must do this because that is when you going into business would really make sense. If not, it's not going to make sense. But as far as the structure is concerned, it is standard. Even Amazon, Apple, the biggest companies in the world, they follow that flow. They pay all those people before they pay their shareholders.
We're really, really running out of time. There's one more question. Thank you for sending your questions. The other questions that we can't catch. There's other questions that we can't catch. We'll send them to Davies after now. First of all, I also want to appreciate every single one of us. 36 people tuned in and stayed till the end. 36. Wow, that's a high number for us here on our Zoom channel. Don't forget next week, 11th of September, 5 p.m., Career Essentials. Joshua says, thank you so much for investing in us. On the question of networking. So Davies, this is a two-part question. So there are two people asking the questions, but they are related. So a two-part question. So I'm going to give it to you, and this will be our last question for today. The first question is, how do we keep the network flowing? After we have ignited the network, you've taught us networking, and we've ignited it, how do we keep it flowing? The second question is that you've mentioned many wrong ways to approach people in terms of networking. What is the right way to approach someone to build a network? So before Davies answers, that's the last question we're taking for today. Get ready next week. Please come with your set the reminders, come with your questions next week. Any other question after now, we'll send it to Mr. Davies and we'll share the answers with you later. So Davies, you want to do justice to that?
All right, thank you very much for those questions, Femi, and to the people who asked them. Yeah, okay, so first question is, how do you, keep the relationship after you've ignited it? Perfect question, because many times a lot of people establish the relationships, but it flames out. Here's the thing, it's very simple. Follow-up is critical. That's the answer to the question. Follow-up. You meet somebody at an event, you exchange cards, and for a lot of people, that's where it ends. But you must build the art of follow-up. And here's the thing, you must become a person that is genuinely interested in people, not just interested in people for what you can get from them. Please take note of that. You must be genuinely interested in people. Now, when you're genuinely interested in people, you'll be more motivated to do follow-up. So I'll give you an example of what I do, right? Because we don't have a lot of time, I can't go too deep into it. So I'll just give you an example. When I go to an event and I meet somebody and we exchange contact information, right? I ensure that within 24 hours, I send them a text message, hello, this is Davis. We met at XYZ. It was such a great privilege to meet with you. I am looking forward to XYZ. Let me tell you, follow this structure that I just said. I know I rushed through it. Okay, let me go over it once again. Hello, my name is Davis. We met at XYZ. It was such a great honor. It was such a privilege to meet you. I look forward to XYZ. In that simple text message. Now, and by the way, I do not send it as a WhatsApp message, right? Let me tell you the principle behind not sending it as a WhatsApp message. I send it as a text all the time. The principle is this, people will, see, this is just the truth, right? I didn't read it anywhere, but it's just what I found to be the truth. People have a higher mental perception for text messages than WhatsApp messages. Why? Because we know that WhatsApp messages are free. Anybody can do it. Text message isn't free. In Nigeria, it is 4 naira. Right? It is not free. Even if it is a cent, right? It costs you something. People attribute a higher level of value to text than WhatsApp. Now, when you send text, Because they attribute higher value to the text, they attribute higher value to you. They see you as a person of value. It doesn't cost much, but it creates a lot. That's one. Now, in terms of the structure, hello, you start with greetings, right? Then your name is Davis. Remind them of your name because you're not the only person they met. You met at this event. Remind them of the event because they might have forgotten. They might have forgotten that they met you at that event. Some people go to more than 2 events in a day. Do you understand? But remind them of the place where you met. Remind them of yourself. Because when you do that, again, the reason why it must be between 24 hours is that so that you can easily recall, so that they can come to your, they can easily recall you and you can come to their memories very quickly. Right? Their subconscious mind will quickly look for the file and supply it to the conscious mind. So when you put your name and you put the event, then follow up with gratitude. These are principles. I'm breaking this down so that you can understand the principles behind that simple thing. Gratitude must follow. Right? When you follow up with gratitude, then the last thing is your expectation. Your expectation must be something of value. So it can be a statement that simply says, oh, I look forward to a relationship of value that brings mutual benefits to both of us. If you say something of that nature, then the person says, okay, no, sir, this person is focused on value, right? So the reason why I broke down those principles is that it answers the other question in part. The other question was, how do you then, what is the right way to approach people? I'm going to share a few quick things. Number one, when you approach, your approach should come with these components. It should come with respect. It should come with courtesy. It should come with respect. It should come with courtesy. It should come with gratitude. It should come with a smile, and it should come with giving. 5 things: respect, courtesy, gratitude, smile, giving. Respect, courtesy, gratitude, smile, giving. Why smile? Well, you have to smile because smile says, I am open for conversation. Frowning or putting your face one kind or showing a tired face says, I am not open for conversation. This is what your non-verbal cues says, right? Respect, right? Regardless of the person, older than you, younger than you, whatever it is, please just accord respect. Human beings love to be respected. And when people respect us, we respect them back. It is just what it is, right? That's the reason why you must approach with respect, regardless. Even when I facilitate our sessions, and maybe it's a session with younger people, maybe even university or undergraduate or high school students or things like that, I speak to them with total respect, right? So appropriate people respect because it's reciprocal. Then I've talked about smile, I've talked about respect. Then courtesy, please and thank you. Don't let it be far from your mouth, right? Speak to people kindly. That's what courtesy is all about. That's 3. Then number 4 is show gratitude. Even the fact that you had an opportunity to speak with them, let people feel important, right? If that's a very base rudimentary way to say it, let them feel important, that it's such a privilege to speak to you. Say that to somebody, it brightens their day. When people have good memories of you, they are better positioned to want to build a relationship with you. And if all you did was to say thank you for the privilege to be talking to them, or even compliment them, they associate you in their mind to good memories. And then the last thing is giving. Giving is always a great strategy, right? One thing that I do, if there's somebody that I've been having conversations with, online, maybe somebody I'm looking to build a relationship with, and an opportunity arises and we're going to meet in person for the first time, I am going to go with a gift. This is a practice that I started middle of last year, and I can tell you that it has been highly rewarding. I go with a gift. See, it's not hard. A pen is not expensive. A very nice pen, not expensive. That is a gift. People would appreciate the thoughtfulness, not even the gift, the thoughtfulness. If you do all those things every time you are making approaches, remember, courtesy also includes the manner of approach, how you approach the person. I gave you an example about how you ask for mentorship. I gave you an example, right? So the manner of approach also matters. So essentially, this is how you build relationships. Follow up is very important. So once you begin to follow up, after the first follow up, the second follow up, the first follow up should be like, gratitude, and all of those things that I talked about earlier. The second degree of follow up should then be substance, right? If that relationship is going to be built, you then need to build it on substance. So don't let your next follow up be Happy New Month. Don't let it be, all of those things that we do. Reach out and have a conversation. Like I said earlier, you must show a genuine interest in people. What that means is reach out and say, oh, you mentioned at the event, or you mentioned where we met that you do this. Could you please tell me a little bit more, because I am XYZ, whatever it is that you want to do. But ask for a bit more. People are always excited to talk about what they do. We are human beings. There's an element of selfishness in our body. We like talking about ourselves. Give them an opportunity to talk about themselves. Ask, so what is it that you do? Or this thing that you say that you do, please expatiate on it so that we can see if there are possible areas of collaboration. Then once you have that conversation and they talk about themselves, you can talk about yourself as well. And then what you do, what happens is, because they've shared about themselves and you shared about yourself, you would find what we call middle ground. Middle grounds are things that connect you and them. And then you can build the relationship on that middle ground. Let me use a very simple, rudimentary, easy example. You're looking to buy a land, somebody sells lands, right? Or you're looking to buy a house, somebody sells houses. You just met, you didn't even know about this, right? You built a relationship, you built a rapport, and then you followed up and said, tell me a little bit more about yourself. And then the person talked about themselves and they mentioned the fact that, oh, they are looking to buy a land somewhere in between, or they hinted at it. Then you talked about yourself and talked about the fact that you sell land, right? Then you can see that there's a point of connection. Then the relationship itself will be built on that point of connection, and then it goes from there. That is exactly how it happens.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Davies.
Sorry, Femi, let me just quickly mention that if you have subsequent questions or anything, you can just follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Those are the best places to find me. In fact, Instagram and LinkedIn is a more effective place to find me than WhatsApp is, right? So just follow me on Instagram at Davies Okeowo, reach out to me on LinkedIn, or follow me on LinkedIn, Davies Okeowo as well. You can then send me your questions as a direct message. I'll gladly provide responses to that.
So thank you very, very much. If you didn't get that, just go to Instagram and shout, Davies. I'm sure he will hear you. But in case you want to do the proper way, you can go and check at Davies Okeowo on Instagram. Thank you so very much.
Here it is on your screen again.
Yeah, we are way beyond our time. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this session, if you think that this session was late, please, next week, set a reminder on your phone, 11th of September at 5 p.m. We'll be talking about career essentials, how to transition into a place of career relevance. You'll remember that our pastor has been talking to us about enjoying the fruit of the land. We spent the entire month of August digging into the spiritual side of the fruit of the land. And now we're learning the principles of how to enjoy these things. So please, how to transition into a place of career relevance, career dominance, how to, the fundamentals and the principles of career. We'll be discussing that next week. Don't forget, set the reminder. Thank you so very much, everyone. And see you on the 11th of September with Mr. Davies once again. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, everybody. Bye. Have a good one.